Good evening. It's Sharonda here from Red Couch Conversations. It's my pleasure to be sitting here with Mr. Philip White from Transitional Therapeutic Services. And tonight we're going to have a conversation that's important to all of us. Now, Mr. Philip, I want to say thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming. It's a pleasure for me to be a part of such a great event.
Well, thank you. So we all know that there are things that goes on in life, and there are highs and there are lows. In life, we all also need to take time to think about our healthy self, our wellness. And tonight I've asked Mr. White to talk to us about how we can deal with the inner pain and inner hurt and inner things that's going on, and how and where do we go and get this help. So it's my understanding that your office and other offices such as yours offer therapeutic services for mental health, therapy, and other avenues of help, correct?
Absolutely. I think that the offices of mental health in the five county, what it used to be called five county, but
Correct.
they kind of split things up. But in the office of mental health, they offer a variety of services for youth, for adults, and for IDD populations. So there's always a vast amount of services that are offered in the community. And so, I would like to be one of the ones to begin to get those services out and make people aware and give them a conscience when it comes to what is out in the community and what they can be a part of.
Okay. Now, there's a concern that has been bothering me for a little bit about why people of color do not come get help.
Well, I think that there's a stigma in the
Okay.
community. And I think it goes all the way back to the Willie M. times of
Yeah.
services where you were stereotyped if you was considered to need help.
Okay.
And I think that it goes even farther than that. But
Okay.
I want to kind of stick within that scope of
Mhm.
mental health. And when it comes to our community and needing help, we're very reluctant
Okay.
because we always feel under attack.
Okay.
We always feel that someone is out to get us.
Correct.
And instead of us focusing on the bigger picture, is that I need help. We try to do things on our own because, of course, we like to be
Yeah. That's right.
INDEPENDENT. Yeah, you know what that means.
That's right.
So we want to be able to do those kind of things, and we want to show people that we can make it, and we can do it, and we can survive.
Right.
And so I think that stigma is that we don't want to look like we're weak. We don't want to
Yes.
appear to be vulnerable to other people. We want to look like that. Hey, look, we can handle our own, and we're capable of doing the things that's necessary to be successful.
That's good information. And so if you're out there dealing with something, I know that, we'll get a call in the midnight hour, such and such just passed. Or there's been some traumatic incidents that's happening in your life or in your network. Reach out, give someone a call. There's no worries about stigmas and having people judge you. Get the help. I always say if your eyes go bad, you go to the eye doctor. Your foot go bad, you go to the foot doctor. But we also got to make sure we go to the inner doctors too and talk about what's going on with our mental health.
Absolutely.
And so what advice would you have for the youth that's out here that's struggling and need to talk to somebody?
Well, I think that I kind of consider myself an expert um, with the youth because I used to be one myself.
Correct.
And so, being the baby of 12 kids, it wasn't always easy growing up
Mhm.
in the area in which we were raised. But I always found a hope,
Yeah.
and I always look for a hope. And that hope could have been a social worker. That hope could have
Yeah.
been a school counselor. It could have been a teacher. It could have been your next door neighbor.
Right.
So when we're dealing with the young people, just understanding that they're human
Right.
and there's issues, there's things that's going on with them, and being able to just say something kind to a
Yeah.
young person will actually give them an opportunity to explore that maybe this is somebody that I can talk to,
Right.
somebody that I can vent to, somebody that I can open up to. Because as a kid, we are in a world, or a child is in a world where they don't feel like that nobody's there but them.
That's
And
right.
so they're closed off because they feel that no one understands.
That's true.
But if you can relate to them,
Mhm.
if you can be able to reach them where they are, I think that that's going to open up a door for more young people to say, hey, look, this is what I'm struggling with.
Okay.
And it's more prominent in this day and time because we just came from a world pandemic. It
We
wasn't a
did.
country, it wasn't a city,
It
it
was.
wasn't
Mm.
a community. It was the world.
The world.
And the world pandemic changed the way we think,
Yes.
changed the way we operate,
Yes.
changed the way we see things as young people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that as teenagers begin to grow, studies have shown that the frontal lobe, the
That's
frontal
right.
cortex is not developed, but the medulla is responsible for fight or flight.
Yes.
And so, because that medulla is there and it's showing all the spontaneous information, or is downloading all this information saying, "Hey, look, you can fight or you can flight." I think that kids are more reluctant to run from a problem than to embrace it because they
Okay.
are afraid of what may happen and the
Okay.
exposure and the negative exposure that it may get.
Bullying is a really hot topic right now within our schools, and especially in the middle school
hmm
age group. Is there any information you can give to parents about how to deal with bullying?
Yeah, I think that when you talk about bullying, it is a um, vast subject matter.
Mm-hmm.
I think that sometimes bullying has been construed as being picked upon,
Right.
or someone, calling you unfavorable, ugly, or your head is big. And all these are just developmental issues
Yes.
that are going on within our teenage kids. Well, the unique thing about teenagers is that they're going through a stage of identity
Mm-hmm.
versus confusion.
Yes.
And so it is an identity crisis because of how they develop and how they think and how they process. And everything is very instinctive. So I'm trying to find something to fit into. I'm
Right.
trying to find something to be a part of.
Mm.
So when we're going through the era of COVID, everybody was closed in.
That's right.
We could not be a part of something. We could not develop in those areas. We could not get the social skills that we would normally receive. So we kind of closed off and began to deal with things on our own.
Okay.
And then being locked into the house and being locked into whatever area we were in, we began to communicate with those that was in the house, but that became redundant.
Right.
And then patience wore thin.
Mm-hmm.
Parents had a hard time because they didn't know what was going to happen next.
Okay.
So being able to have to be a provider and being able to hear the children and being able to understand. So what did the kids do? They found a babysitter.
That's right.
Well, technology and the internet and Instagram and Facebook, social media became their babysitter, became their source of release. And so when they turned to that, everything became patternized.
Right. Right.
And so they did not, the problem solving skills was not developed.
Okay.
Being able to face things were not developed. So now getting back into a school setting, bullying has become a huge thing.
Yes.
Because now there's an identity crisis.
Yes.
Well, everybody always look at the victim, but let's look at that is the predator.
Yes.
Let's look at those that are doing the aggressive behavior.
Correct.
Because there's an issue there because we have not been properly taught how to communicate.
Yes.
And do an effectiveness in communication.
True. True.
So, if I ask a young teenager about communication, they would tell me, "Oh, I can talk on the phone, or I talk very well." The truth of the matter is that they can talk, but they cannot communicate.
That's right.
And
That's right.
this is just going to be something straight across the board.
Across the board.
When you talk about the power of communication, I've asked a group of kids not long ago. I did a motivational speech for a group of middle school kids, and I asked them. I said, "Listen," I said, "How do you feel that you effective communicators?" Well, they all raised their hand. Well, they felt like because they talk, sometimes they can communicate.
Right.
But communication is broken down into 3 components.
Okay.
Those 3 components is body language.
Mm-hmm.
It's also tone and sound.
True.
And it's also words.
That's right.
So I asked them, I said, which one weighs the most? They said words. Words don't weigh the most in communication. That's just one form of communication.
Correct.
And matter of fact, it weighs the least out of all of them. So what I talked to them about was being able to understand when you're texting, you only have 4 punctuation marks to express how you feel.
True.
And so because you only have those 4, well, thank God for emojis.
Right.
Emojis came in and took the top and kind of helped that to be more effective. But texting and emailing it's a sad way to communicate,
It's right.
especially when there's personal feelings.
Right.
That only weighs in 7%.
Yeah.
Tone and sound is like picking up the telephone.
Correct.
So then that weighs in about 38%.
Right.
And
Right.
then you have
the body language.
the body language
Mm-hmm.
that kind of weighs in at 55%.
Yes.
So being able to show people and not just tell people
Right.
is the greatest form of communication.
Right.
But when you can put them all together, then you will be an effective 100% communicator.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Another area I want to talk to you about is, for a long time, we hear a lot of people say, I was raised by a single parent. My mother did this, my mother did that. But we have a gap there when we don't have active fathers. And is there anything that you can share to the fathers about getting involved, advocating in the children's school and in their lives, and being active and not just being on the side? Because I believe if we can get fathers back into the daily practice of parenting, don't worry about the relationship with the mother.
Mhm.
Worry about the relationship with the child.
Absolutely. And I think that, if I connect that with bullying,
Yeah.
it's because we don't know how to effectively communicate because we don't have models.
He said a mouthful, y'all.
And if we had the models to teach us how to say when something is wrong,
Yes.
to communicate effectively, then the bullying will lessen.
Yes.
Because nobody wants to tell on the bully.
That's right. That's right.
But everybody want to point out them that is being bullied.
Right.
But nobody want to point out those that have this aggression.
Right.
Bullies are made. They are made.
Right. You're not born a bully.
Right. You're made that way. And so, all behaviors are learned.
Okay.
Behaviors, there's only two reasons for behaviors. You're either trying to get to something or you're trying to get away from something. So I think that if our young African American males had, and that's any male, I'm just using that
right.
Because of the era in which I grew up in.
Right.
I feel that if we had those examples and those that felt good about who they were,
right,
then we would have something to look forward to.
True.
We would have something to look into.
Right.
But we're being raised by single parents. Am I against single parenting? No, I'm not. You know what? I'm not against it because I know that that's what we have to work with.
That's what we have to work with.
And so because of the lack of fathers, there is not a lack of fathers. Let me put it that way. It's not a lack of fathers.
No.
Because babies are still being produced.
That's right. That's right. I like the correction. You out there.
It's not a lack of fathers because the babies are still being produced. But what we're lacking is those that want to be accountable.
Right.
And be responsible for their actions.
True.
But if they don't feel good about who they are, who's going to take responsibility
That's
for
right.
it? So we got to be able to not just, have programs for our kids. We got to have programs for our young men.
That's right. That's right.
And teaching them and showing them, hey, listen, one step is one step closer.
Yes.
One step is one step closer to the finish line. You are making progress.
That's right.
It is not the end of your life. It's not the end of your journey.
That's right.
And so if I can teach a young man how to grow and take responsibility and make him to realize that the seed that has been sowed is his responsibility. Now, everyone teach one. If we teach each other how to be,
that's right,
then guess what? We can produce more.
That's right.
But the problem is coming in is where I'm a social work major.
Okay.
And so there's a theory out there. It's called the strain theory.
Yes.
And it's called block opportunity. So what happens is that when a person gets a scar on their record or there's a learning disability, when you face those things, society labels you.
That's right.
With the labeling theory, and
That's
they
right.
stereotype
you. Yep.
And so now we are now labeled. So when we go out to get a job, when we go out to try to overcome the deficit or the mistake that we made, what's happening is that society will block you.
That's right.
And so what you'll do is take your talent and turn it to someone that will accept you. So we are making drug dealers.
Yeah.
We are making people do things illegally to survive.
That's right.
Not that they desire to and they want to. These are survival skills.
Yeah. Yeah.
because no one intervened and taught them the right and proper way. And so when they get in trouble with the law judges them, and then society
It
judges
judges
them.
them
So we take them through double jeopardy constantly, all the time.
over
Well,
and over.
a human being can't take for so much of that
That's right.
before they quit and they throw in the towel.
Yes.
But we got to be able to embrace them. And I encourage everyone to be able to embrace every young man, every young lady
Yes.
that's in front of you. Billy Alfonte said something on the 100th anniversary of one of the fraternities or sororities that he spoke with. And he said that the oppression of the African American woman lays in the hands of the African American man.
Mm.
And I thought about that. And I was a student at North Carolina Central University in the psychology program at the time. And I thought about that. And it's because it's true.
It is.
We are living in a society that is very strained.
Yes.
Especially for our single mothers.
Yes.
Because they're feeling like they have to, be the male or be the father and be the female and be the woman.
Right.
And the truth of the matter is that even though they feel like they are, it's impossible to do.
It's impossible.
It's impossible to do.
That's right.
And I encourage our single women to begin to build yourselves up, to begin to respect yourselves and develop yourselves. And I'll say this, we have to raise the bar.
We do.
And my daughter told me, and she sent it in, and she's working on this, and she said, we got to raise the bar. Well, what's the bar?
That's right.
The bar is that we got to learn to set boundaries and respect.
That's right.
That's raising the bar.
Raising the bar. The bar is there, but we just got to raise it.
We just got to raise it.
This is some good stuff, people. I hope that you're enjoying this conversation, because I know that I am. This is about how do we change the outlet. How do we change the paradigm? How do we change the narrative? How do we write our own outcomes? It's not about what grandma did. It's not about what auntie and uncle did. It's about how do we raise our bar. And so in hearing that, I just want to make sure that I go back to say, hey, if you're dealing with something, make sure you to go talk to somebody. I do not believe that you have to go through things by yourself. In the African American community, we're seeing that suicide rate has just went through the roof.
Oh,
it was a
wow.
time that our population wasn't the ones that would commit suicide. But now it's just the numbers are just through the roof. And so when I hear about those numbers and the children that are using that outlet, talk to your babies. If you see something change in them, if you hear something, have the conversation. Don't sit on it. There are great programs out here. Mr. White's program. Please reach out to him. Can you give us the contact number for your program here?
Yes. Our program contact number is 252-598-2462. That's our contact number. And if it's after hours, it'll roll over into a automatic crisis line. There's also, 988 is the suicidal hotline that you
Good
can also reach out to. I think that when you're talking about suicide, I think that the instinctiveness, suicide rates, I was reading a study not too long ago, and suicide rates was high amongst 16 to 21-year-olds. And because of that, it made me look into it a little bit further and find out why, to identify the antecedent, the root cause of this problem. And it comes from where there's been rejection.
Yeah.
And I have not been able to be a part of something. Again, that lack of communication.
Lack of communication.
That increases bullying when there's a lack of communication. It increases suicide when there's a lack of communication.
Yes.
Isolation. How to identify some of the signs of those kids that may be suffering with suicidal ideations.
Yes.
Looking at medications that they're taking to see if those medications have a side effect of suicidal ideations.
Yes.
There's so many other avenues to look into, but I encourage everyone to be able to increase the communication amongst their children.
Yeah.
Because of course we know that the frontal lobe is not developed.
That's right.
Before about the age of 25, but I'm gonna say it boost it up to about 30.
That's right. That's right.
But kids are staying kids longer.
That's right.
So what happens is that when a child is faced with something, they don't have peripheral vision.
That's right.
It's because, again, they're very instinctive and spontaneous.
That's right.
So what they can only see is what's in front of them. And when they feel closed in, the anxiety increases. And when the anxiety increases, they want an immediate escape
That's
route.
right.
So I got to get out of this. Well, because they only have a conscious of this body, they feel that if I exit the world, then everything else goes
Everything's
away. That's another day, another topic.
Right.
Now, but what I want to be able to do, they shouldn't get to that
They
point.
shouldn't get to that point.
We as adults should be able to identify
Mhm.
when a kid is isolating themselves, when a kid doesn't feel good about themselves,
That's right.
when a kid is feeling like that they don't belong, when we go into the cafeteria and they're sitting all by
That's
themselves,
right.
when they're in the classroom, they got their head down on their desk. And you were saying it's okay, educators, because guess what? They're not disrupting my class.
Yeah, he's quiet.
You know, he's quiet, leave him alone. But these are signs, these are dead giveaway signs
Mhm.
where I don't feel good about myself.
That's right.
But we have enough people in our circle to reach out to those that are not feeling good about themselves and do something nice for them. Bless them, increase
Yeah.
them, do some things for them that no one has ever done. Put a smile on somebody's
That's
face.
right.
So
That's
I
right.
charge myself every single day is to make someone smile.
Oh, powerful, powerful.
Make
Powerful.
someone smile.
Yes, yes. This is some good stuff. So let me just pull this apart and break it down a little bit. Communication and the Red Cow conversation, that's what we're doing here. We're having a real conversation about topics that are we're dealing with on a daily basis. And so I want you to make sure that you're catching this. Mr. White said it, I know 50 times. Communication, communication, communication. But I want to add to it. Being an effective listener is also a part of communication. Because if you're talking and I'm talking, somebody's not listening. But if you're hearing me and you're understanding what I'm saying or what my body language is not saying, then we can communicate. I just want to talk about some of the services that you offer.
Okay. Well, some of the services that I offer is a vast variety, as I said before. We offer intensive in-home. We offer outpatient plus for children and adults. We offer outpatient therapy. We offer peer support. We offer individual support.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a vast amount of services that are being added to the contract as we speak.
Okay.
We have a day treatment as well. So we are developing as we go because I want to be an effective provider.
Right.
I don't just want to do a service in order to say that I have the service and because I want the money.
Right.
It's one thing that this company was built upon, and it was not the money.
Correct.
I told my staff when I first brought them in, I said, if you see me with a pair of nice shoes, just know I had them before I started the business.
That's right.
If you see me driving a nice car, just know I had it before I started the business.
Yeah.
If you hear about me buying another home, just know that I had a nice home before I started the business.
Yeah.
I didn't start the business to get rich.
That's right.
I started the business to perfect the product.
See? Powerful.
We have to be able to perfect our product, but we don't have enough patience because we lack the ability to effectively communicate with our resources. And so we don't have the power to effectively perfect our product. So the services that we provide is that we go into the schools, we go into the homes, we provide family services because we want to deal with the holistic approach. It's all about family.
Right.
It's about driving the family principles.
That's right.
And so my staff is constantly being trained through a program called GRIDS.
Okay.
GRIDS is a program that I developed because I've been in the field for over 20-some years, and I saw where the lack of providers reaching our community. And so GRIDS stands for Grassroots Innovation Developments and Services.
Okay.
And so what it is that when I see a potential kid that has a opportunity to be a employee of TTS, what I've done is I see the grassroots.
Okay.
And any landscape will tell you, when you
That's
start
right.
seeing grass come up, you don't cut it.
That's
You let it grow.
That's right.
And then we step into the innovation part of things.
Okay.
Where I allow that individual to be creative
Okay.
in what they do. So they're being innovative. And then once I see the creativity come out of them and which area they want to work in or what population they desire to serve, then I develop that in them.
Okay.
And so when I develop that in them, then we prepare them through TTS to serve the community.
Okay.
TTS then hires them
Okay.
and send them out into the community to provide the services that we have trained them to provide.
Raising the bar.
Raising the bar.
Raising the bar.
And that's what we have to do, because I'm a product
That's right.
of this environment.
That's right.
I'm the baby of 12 kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a product of this environment. And because I'm a product, I came through school. I was resourced.
That's right.
I had IEP.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm advocating for IEPs and 504
Okay.
plans.
Okay.
Why? Because I'm passionate about it. And I know that if somebody take interest in these students and decide to teach them according to the way they learn and stop trying to teach them according to the teaching style that they feel comfortable with, then we are now taking that student and perfecting that product.
Oh, wow. If you missed it, I'm going to tell you, go back, rewatch this so you can catch it the next time. Raising the bar, we're products of our own environments, but we don't have to stay there. We're going to raise the bar. We're going to make sure that we're sending out the message. I like what you said. You're going to train them and then send them out to serve in the very community.
Absolutely.
I love that. That is powerful. That is powerful.
That was my mother. I'm working on a nonprofit now to be able to support kids in school that maybe don't feel like they have the opportunity to go to college.
Okay.
Because that was me.
Okay.
Maybe feel like they wasn't smart enough to go to college, because that was me.
Right.
Maybe feel like that, hey, listen, just graduating high school is good enough. That was me.
Okay.
But because somebody intervened into my life and touched my life at an early age, gave me a hope and made me to see and told me that I was smart, that I was somebody. Now I don't just sit with a high school diploma. I sit with an associate degree. I sit with a bachelor's degree. I sit with a master's degree.
Listen here.
And social work, and now looking into going into PhD status, because I want to be able to create a trajectory for those that we serve in the community.
That's right.
If I can't serve you, I'm no help to you.
That's right. That's right. So listen, if you're out there and you need this service, please don't hesitate to reach out, because this is a service that is available to you, available to your children, available to your family. I don't want anybody to not know how to get the services. I want you to know that you know that you know that services are available to you. If you are dealing with some things with school, if you're a child and you're viewing this and you're having some concerns in school, reach out, find you a safe person in your school. If you don't have somebody in your school, in your church, in your family, you can inbox me and I'll link you to somebody. I could be available. I just want you to know that there's somebody out there for you. Do not sit on this stuff by yourself. It was very heavy on my heart. I just wanted to do a mental health series. I wanted to make sure that our people know. And when I say our people, I'm not just making it about people of color. I'm talking about everybody. I love everybody. So it doesn't matter the race, it doesn't matter the gender. If you are going through something, please reach out. It's too many rest in peace on my timeline. It's too many gone too soon on my timeline. Had I known, I would have got something to them on my timeline. I just feel like we got to make sure that we are being proactive, and not only that, but we're raising our own bar within our own selves. So if you're going through, you don't have to go through by yourself. Sickness come. I mean, you hear your family member, hey, I got diagnosed with this.
Absolutely.
But you also need to deal with the medical part of it, but deal with the mental part of it too.
Deal with the mental part. Deal with that. I tell people all the time that you're constantly running after what you see.
Yeah.
But I'm pursuing what I don't see.
Oh, look at it.
I'm pursuing what I don't see.
I love it.
That says that I have faith.
That's right.
That says that I believe beyond.
That's right.
My break.
That's right.
I've expanded my boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And so by doing that, it has caused me to just repeat something you said earlier. You know what? Being proactive.
That's right.
But we're being too reactive.
Oh, always.
We got to be proactive and not reactive.
That's right.
We're reacting to situations when we can prevent them from happening by just putting a smile on somebody's face.
Oh.
Finding the cafeteria, going to the cafeteria, seeing somebody sitting by themselves and say, I'm going over and sit with them. I'm going to encourage them.
Right.
Everybody's not going to have a great day every day.
Right.
But by the time they meet you, they can have a better day.
This is some power stuff. There's going to be a part 2 with Mr. White. He don't even know it yet, but I'm gonna call him back. So I wanna leave us with this. Make it your business to put a smile on somebody's face today. Every day, like Mr. White said, go out here and put a smile on somebody's face. Make it a stranger. Make it someone that you know in your community. But make that your charge. Put a smile on somebody's face. I want to thank you, Mr. White, for giving me this
Absolutely.
opportunity. This
Absolutely.
has been
Likewise.
just, oh,
Vice versa.
I could sit here and talk to you, for, going on. We can go into a different topic. But I want to have a part two. I want to come back and talk to you. I want to make sure that the viewers know that we're going to continue to have these conversations. And at Riddick Events, as we always say, come talk to us before you talk yourself out of your next event. Good night.
Thank you.
Mr. White, let me tell